here, and I'm thankful that we're not seeing more of those negative temps like so many other people are. We actually hit -4 degrees yesterday, but that's nothing compared to what other people are enduring. And I'm just thankful for a life where I don't have to go out in the cold. I can work from home and stay warm, and I got a phone. As long as I got heat and a phone and the internet, I'm good to go. But my prayers and my thoughts and prayers are with so many people struggling right now with the cold, and I pray for safety. I'm not sure what to think of it, actually. We got this mix of global warming with a polar vortex. It's very interesting to consider what's going on in the world. But you know what? It's February, and right now it's just around the corner, and I'm hoping that you're in high gear for your business already. If not, it is never too late to settle yourself down, to come up with a plan, to kick yourself in the tail and stick with it. It's never too late to do that. So if you haven't gotten your year started off yet, I would just really encourage you to do that. Settle down and figure out where you're going, and put together your roadmap to get there, right? It doesn't take much to get distracted in the world that we live in today. Not much at all. I was teasing about getting distracted by perhaps a dog barking in the background. I hope not, right? But some people are distracted with politics, and they never quit showing their hands. Some people are distracted with just the weather, whether it's hot or it's cold, or tornadoes or flooding or whatever, and they never quit making excuses for why they're not working, because there's so much, they're distracted by. Some are distracted, with relationships, both good and bad, and they never quit setting aside their business, with that focus that it takes to be successful, because they're too, consumed with that relationship, if you will, right? We are in control of our business. We are in control of our future. We're in control for the most part of our lives, but it takes staying focused, and it takes the right motives to get us there. I do a tremendous amount of mentoring these days, helping people develop a strategy for their business that might work for them if they work it right. And I also do, and I always have, a lot of personal mentoring. A lot of times it's women who are walking a journey that I've walked or whatever. And I try to help them gain perspective that I hope will lead them into a balanced life. But no matter who I'm speaking with, what the topic is, what they're looking to learn, or how they're hoping to grow, the advice, the strategy, the success and the failure always comes down to motive. So the message for you today has been inspired by all these recent conversations. It's entitled, Is Your Motive Marvelous? Well, what does motive mean? It means a reason for doing something, especially one that is hidden or not obvious. There is no doubt that it takes strategy to build a business, so we need to have some of those, reasons, if you will. Not everything so obvious, but we have to have a strategy to lead to success. But our motive will define that success one way or the other. Having the right motive will impact every single area of our lives, from our relationships to our children, to our faith, and most assuredly to our business. Motives are the underlying reasons for the actions we take and the words that we speak. It's the hidden agenda, if you will. No one can tell what your motives truly are. They might try, but you're the only one who can really know your reasons for doing what you do or saying what you say. I've had people recently, it's kind of funny, questioning my motives behind writing books. They question whether I'm even still in the business or if I've just gone off to some writing, world. But you can believe I have a motive for writing. There's no doubt about it. For walking on water, my hidden agenda, if you will, was to put a little bit of my life out there in an attempt to inspire others into believing that if I can survive and thrive with the nonsense I dealt with, then so can they. That's a healthy motive. For toilets, taps, and trash, my hidden agenda, if you will, was to help share the problems that we all have with water, and to put myself out there as, quote unquote, an expert. I don't present myself as a distributor, by the way, in that book. I'm just the author. But if I do say so myself, it's not only a good tool that you can use for your business. I know I closed a sale almost right away, and I wrote the stinking book. People sharing that book and sharing the truth, it's almost like having the ultimate third-party validation, if you will. But it's not a bad thing for you to be able to say that it made it to #1 on Amazon either, right? I believe those motives are healthy too. Will I make sales from the book? Of course I will. And so will you if you use it. I've certainly not backed away from this tremendous business of ours. I just have a motive and a hidden agenda, if you will, something that's a little bit different than what most people are doing. Our motives are either healthy or they're unhealthy, and they're nowhere in between. Whether it's good or it's bad, whether it's in business or your love life, or if your motives are healthy, they're based on wanting what's best for other people first, and then yourself. So you have to determine if you have a healthy or an unhealthy motive? Do you have an unhealthy motive that's driven by fear or anger or greed or unfulfilled need for acceptance or power or even love? We see off-kilter motives everywhere we look. There's no doubt about it. In relationships, it's not uncommon for people to get wooed into a relationship that ends up being a train wreck. One person with a hidden agenda and another one that didn't see it coming. The wrong motive in a relationship can break even the strongest of hearts. We see it with our children, especially when we see parents with a hidden agenda to have the perfect family for all the world to see. They just want to tout them out there. Perfection, right? They miss out on all the richness that comes when you have the right relationship with your imperfect children and the right perspective on life. No one ever won a prize for having a perfect family. So that hidden agenda will lead to nothing but conflict in your home. We see it in our faith, unfortunately. Every church has a player or two with the wrong motive. Perhaps they want to be heard just to be heard, or they insist on serving where they really shouldn't be serving, or they spread gossip like poison. Their motive is to be recognized more than anything else, and they will always cause dissension in the process. We certainly see it in our business. When the sole motive that we have is just to close a sale, instead of the compassion it takes to change a life, we only utter the word compassion, but that's just lip service. It sounds good. Then that hidden agenda makes its way to the surface eventually. It is what it is. If you're in it for business, it looks like business. And if you're just in it, to extend compassion, it looks like it. But as long as you're doing what you're doing with your best interest in first position, you'll see a sale or two every once in a while, but you won't experience long-term success. Unless you make a regular practice of examining your motives and questioning your choices, your words, if you will, you might inadvertently slip into what I call autopilot, and you'll create a wedge between you and your success, or between you and a successful relationship, those things that are most important to us at work and at home. For some of us, those people of faith, we learn to examine our motives routinely. We turn to the pilot and we ask for wisdom, and our primary goal is to have healthy motives and to put others above ourselves. That's not an easy thing to do, right? But outside of faith, how many people routinely check the pulse of their motives in their relationships and in their business? I mentioned that autopilot. I'd like you to imagine if we treated our motives like flying a plane. The pilot has moments of hands-on, thank God, right? Intentional action, but most of the flying is done with the autopilot on. In fact, I've been told it's upwards of 90% of the time. For pilots, the autopilot allows them to focus on other things like, navigation, communication, maybe systems operation, that kind of thing. In that case, autopilot is a very good thing. But when it comes to people, there's a great risk in allowing our motives to simply run off by themselves, unchecked, somewhere in the background. So these questions to assess whether or not your motives are healthy or if they've become unhealthy might be helpful for you today. When you make comments in meetings, when you speak up, when you put your 2 cents in, is your real motive to add value to the discussion, which is healthy, or do you mostly just want everybody else to hear you and to think you're smarter than they are, which is unhealthy? When you make a commitment to do something and then you don't do it, was your motive genuine, but you just failed to follow up, which is almost healthy, right? Or did you just say what sounded good in the moment while you had absolutely no intention of doing what you said you would do? That's unhealthy, and that kind of thing happens every day. When you take on everything yourself, whether it's in your home and with your family, it's with your business, you take it on rather than delegating and spreading it out to other people. Is your real motive that you can save time, which is healthy? It may not be true, but it's healthy, right? Or do you fear losing control? You got to control everything, so you won't delegate anything because nobody can do it as well as you can. When you give unsolicited advice to people you work with, for instance, is your real motive truly to help, which is healthy? We all need to grow, and sometimes people need to help us get there. Or do you need to feel like you're better than they are and you want to be sure they don't forget it? And that's unhealthy. When you can't say no, you just can't find yourself, you can't say no, you just do everything you're asked to do. You find yourself doing way too much, many things that don't equate to income for you, if we're talking about business. Is your real motive to sincerely just go out there helping everybody, which is healthy? Or are you so afraid that doing for others is the only real value you add? So you're not really working your business, you're just getting that feel good thing, doing everything, being everywhere, can't say no, just because it makes you feel feel like you're valued. When you hear an unvalidated rumor, perhaps about our business or someone else in our business, and you just pass it on, is your real motive to receive validation, which could be healthy, or do you get enjoyment out of spreading rumors, whether they're validated or not, which is really, really super unhealthy? The list could go on and on and on. The important thing to remember is that we always need to check the pulse of our motives in and out of the business. So you practice examining your motives. Identify an outcome you want in particular in a situation or in a relationship with this business, and then honestly ask yourself the question, why? As many times as you need to uncover your real motives for wanting the outcome that you think you want. Once you've listed the reasons, then ask yourself, which motives are self-serving? Which motives serve the whole, myself and everybody else, right? And you weigh them out to see what's healthy and not. It's easy to say that our motive in this business is to help a lot of people and to build an empire, right? When we get our motive off kilter, we can't see that happen. If we, listen, I need to earn a living. I don't apologize for making money. I don't apologize for making lots of it. It's an important thing for my life, and it's important for the kingdom that I serve, right? But we have to have that balance, and we have to understand going into a situation, what is the motive? If the motive's just to help, or is the motive to make the sale? We see a good example of a hidden motive, one that doesn't look so obvious, right? When we share water for weeks on end, and then a person just doesn't buy. It's crazy how people stomp and whine and complain about how those people just didn't get it. But we didn't do anything to help them get there, right? If our motive was just to help them, to give water for weeks and weeks on end, then why are you having any expectation for anything? If you didn't have the motive, the hidden agenda, if you will, to sell them, why would you end up so disappointed? If your motive was to make a sale, that's a good thing. There's nothing wrong with that. You can make a sale with a compassionate heart. I sold real estate auction for 18 years with the most compassionate heart you can ever imagine, right? It's not a bad thing, but you actually have to take steps to make something happen. If your motive's to make the sale, you've got to go beyond giving water, beyond being that nice person, hoping they're going to, beat your door down to buy a unit. Having the right motive is where you find your balance in business and in life. And it's not a motive to merely close, right? If you sincerely want to give water away without guidelines, without any expectation, go for it. If that's your life mission, I'm happy for you. But if you're doing this business and you're focused on building, you just don't give away water forever, and you know it. And truth be told, water sharing can get out of control. Gosh, I remember when I first started, not when I first started, but when I first got to the place where I said, just tell me what I need to do. Okay, I don't know everything. I'm tired of trying to do it my way. And they just said, just share water, right? I was like a camel. I had no guidelines. I didn't set the boundaries. I didn't do anything. I was miserable because all I was doing was give away water. But truth be told, we know that they need to have fresh water in their homes, right? We know that. If you're going to water share, you better be, swapping that water out every day or two, right? We know they need the fresh water. We know they need this technology. And the longer we share the water with them and the longer you let them go between refills, the more we blur that truth. Motive is to extend compassion. It is a beautiful thing. And compassion is a big part of our business. But our motive should be to run our business with a compassionate heart and to understand what the underlying motive really is in order to be successful. It's not wrong to make money, and it's no less compassionate because we do. We don't look at missionaries, we don't look at pastors, we don't look at anybody like that in that realm and say, well, they can't really have the right heart because they're making money. It's no less compassionate to make money on this mission. So if you're sharing water with the expectation that you'll close, you're probably going to close. But if you're just sharing water and dumping it on them, thinking they're going to beat your door down, that's just the wrong, blurred motive. If you're sharing water because you like to help people, you think that's what it takes to get the job done, again, go for it. But don't be disappointed when they don't move past drinking your water to buying the product. In that case, you hid behind compassion and your motive never made it to the surface. If you're in business and you need or desire to build it, you need a good perspective on your motives. So Is your motive marvelous? Or do you find yourself circling around like a piranha with a big smile on your face, right? We have to be real. We have to be compassionate. And absolutely, we have to be ambitious. That's a God thing. Just be sure that you don't that you examine your heart and you examine your motives from time to time in and out of the business. There's nothing, again, wrong with strategy, which is often found way below a radar, right? Healthy strategy with a marvelous motive will equate to a life so full and so abundant you can't even wrap your head around it. My motive today was very simple. It's to inspire you. No hidden agenda, no nothing, nothing I need to reveal, right? I want to inspire you today to hopefully give you a nugget that will help you along the way. So will your motives be marvelous? Again, if it's just compassion and that's sincerely all you want to do is share water, you don't care if you ever make a sale, there's nothing wrong with that. But, you know, we can't hide behind things is what I'm saying. If your motive is to make money, you share water and you bring it to close, right? You've got to fly above the, you know, up above the ground in order to accomplish what you want. So I sure hope your motives are marvelous. You guys go out there and I hope you'll ponder that just a little bit and start asking yourself, you know, what is my motive? You know, that's the barometer of faith that we use over and over and over again as people come to us and say, this is what I think God wants of me. What do you think? And it's like, I always ask, well, what's your motive? What's going on behind the scenes, below the radar, that hidden agenda, if you will. So examine your heart, examine your life. You guys go out there. It is such an amazing time to be in this business. It's such an opportunity to truly, you know, share compassion with people in every aspect. Don't ever lose sight of the fact that we have a threefold mission. We have the health, we have finances, we have the peace of mind, which I entitle, or I like to say is faith. But we have a threefold mission, so don't lose sight of the other two while you're chasing one. Have a marvelous motive in mind every single time. You guys go make it a great day. See you at the top, and I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.